Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Bits and Pieces Cricket Podcast. This evening, we're going to be starting a review of the Guyana Cup, the recently held Guyana Cup that was held over the Memorial Day weekend. We can say definitively pretty exciting contest, all right? And to help go through some of what happens, I have with me Lenny Achaibar, commentator, Carl Bennett, commentator, and Francis Mendonca, cricketer. Hopefully we have a few other people who will also be joining us, all right? This is the Bits and Pieces Cricket Podcast. We'll be back shortly. Let me go share the live, and we'll be back.
Imagine being a part of a great adventure, one filled with sweet and glorious uncertainties. Imagine being a part of an adventure beloved by 2.5 billion people and counting. Imagine that you are there with the legends, with the local stars, with the ardent fans, with the historians, with the greats of tomorrow. Oh yes, you can become part of the great adventure by joining the Bits and Pieces Cricket Podcast.
Bits and Pieces NYC is a Chichester Group presentation hosted by Sunday Anansi.
All right, gentlemen, welcome again. Carl, in 2 sentences, describe the tournament that we had for the Guyana Cup over the Memorial Weekend.
Well, Anansi, it's very hard to describe the thing in 2 sentences, but I'll do my very best. I think it was a fantastic tournament. Lots of good cricket played. Some of the stars that we know around the tri-state area came together in a fantastic event and an atmosphere that really allowed the cricketers to showcase their skills. It brought out the community. Not only the Guyanese community, but the broader cricketing fraternity, as you might say. And it ended up with a nail biter of a semi-final that then culminated in a classic final, which ultimately, we saw a new team emerging, not one of the traditional counties from Guyana, but Queens coming out victorious.
Okay, great. Lenny, your quick take.
Yeah, I think it was a well put together tournament. when you look at context, New York doesn't have too many of these tournament. Simultaneously, by the way, there was Unity Cup in the Virginia area, an event that attracted the likes of Martin Guptill, Risa Hendricks, some of the international players. But just
Okay.
coming back to New York, I think we're lagging behind in terms of getting that maybe that $100,000 tournament, $150,000 tournament. But in retrospect, to the Guyana Cup, I think it was really put together. And I mean, I was very heartened by the crowd on Sunday. And I think, being holiday weekend, maybe being holiday weekend, we may have lost maybe 50 to 100 people who may have left town. But other than
Right,
that,
right,
remember,
right.
league wasn't playing, and this tournament was blessed with the backings of the NY NYNCL. So
Yeah,
I'm
right.
pretty sure that played a part.
Okay, great. Francis, as one of the people on the field, give us a quick your quick feel about the tournament.
Yeah, it was a well put together tournament. Happy to be a part of it. I think this probably was my first time being a part of it, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think they've ever had. Have they ever had a this Guyana Cup before, Lenny? I'm not sure.
Uh, no, no, not at all.
So this was the first edition.
No, this is the second edition of the Guyana Cup.
Yeah, there
The
was
second
one
edition.
last year, but in
Yeah,
terms
yeah.
of the expansion to include the new teams,
Oh, I
so
got
other
it. I
than the,
got it.
the
Yeah,
three
so I
counties,
think
they expanded it this year to include a couple of new
yeah,
teams.
I mean, um, just to probably continue on what Lenny said, I think the long holiday weekend may have affected some people them coming out. I think I wish they had
Mm,
more people out there. I think it would have made it look a little bit more, proper, or showcase the cricket fraternity, as you would say. But obviously, whatever
right.
these fans they probably were out there supporting their people, hoping to win the competition. But in general, the competition was good. I think the umpiring, everything, I think was done very professionally,
Okay.
and
Hmm.
you know, it was fun.
Okay, great. Matthew, can you hear me? Welcome aboard.
Yes, I can hear you guys now.
All right, good, good, good. I'm just taking, like give me like a brief summation of this contest for you. We'll be going into details as we go along, a few sentences, we how your response to the contest.
It was great. It was a great tournament. I actually kind of like the fact they utilized the holiday weekend. Yeah, I mean for maybe attendance wise, you may have lost a few people, but in terms of availability for all the players, obviously there's no local leagues playing then. You had all the grounds available. And you had an extra day to really get things going. So I actually do like it. I like the
Mm,
expansion to 6 teams. Was a good, well put together event. We obviously had the draft, so it was something that a lot of planning went into. And I do think the audience was still great. The cricket was fantastic. Bit low scoring, but still high quality. All of the players showed up, all the fans showed up, and yeah, I think overall very good tournament by local New York standards.
all right, Matthew said low scoring, and that's the first thing I wanted to get to. It seems the batting didn't quite come to the fore. I mean, we did have some innings, Dominic Ricky blazed it in his first innings against the Sharks. There was
Yeah,
Narayan and so on, right? But overall, Dino never quite got into stride and thing. All right, so we're gonna talk first about the batting, but let's look at um, Dominic a little on the.
Goes again upstairs. What a clean strike. This time, goal the distance. Gone for a maximum. Dominic Ricky on the. Effectively managed. The sixes as this one is hit well into the deep by Ricky.
Carl, why didn't we get the batting we expected? What was there?
Boy, I gotta tell you, my two fellow commentators, they had projected that this was gonna be a high scoring tournament. I think the analysis coming in with all the big hitters, six hitters in form. I mean, it's early season in some ways for local cricket, but a lot of these players were in peak form, we would say, coming in, and so we expected them to get going. And in reality, when we looked across all the games, only one team actually scored more than 160 runs. And that was the Demerara Eagles in the very first game against Essequibo. So other than that, all the teams were at 160 and below. And that again, while we talk about the exploits of the batters, perhaps we should give the credit to the bowlers who showed up to the party. And maybe it's just ball being superior to bat on this particular occasion, and the ball won out in the end. So I'll give the credit to the bowlers and the strategic approach by the captains to restrict teams. I think that came to the fore, and they did well.
That came to the fore. Okay. But okay, like we had Dino. Let's go to Dino here.
In the air. Who makes no mistake. That's the end of a big wicket. Someone now has to go back. Another one falls so early. Straight into the hands of extra cover. Looking to go big. Matthew makes no mistakes.
Technique-wise, Lenny, did you see anything lacking, or was it more like how Carl was saying, good bowling?
I want to think that a couple of the low scores or a couple, I would say maybe a few of the low scores. I heard, and from all the reports that we heard, is that Drew Park didn't play too well. From all the reports that we got, that it was terrible, and so probably the low scores got affected at that ground. I'm surprised at Cage. That the batsmen struggled to really put big scores. I was thinking the opposite. I thought that Cage, because of the smallness of that ground, easier to take on any bowler on that ground. Even if you miss it, you'll probably get reward for your shot. So with that regard, I'm kind of surprised that that Cage and Drew Park didn't really produce runs. But basically, Pond Park, we saw that it was ideal for cricket, but we had a couple of low scores in that route. So, yeah.
Okay. We're gonna go to Francis, who was one of the batsmen, for his take. Yes, what was happening. But before we go there, Carl, give our viewers a quick rundown as to how the tournament generally played out itself.
So the tournament was it was 6 teams. The 3 traditional counties from Guyana. Berbice, Demerara, Essequibo. This year there were a couple of new teams that were added. So Queen's Sharks, the USA Guyana Majestics, and the Long Island Raptors completed the fixture, so to speak. It was a round robin in the first round, and then the 4 teams that emerged with the most points after the round of effectively each team playing each other once. So 2 games in the first round. Depending on the outcomes there, you advance to the second day. So on day 1, Demerara and Essequibo played. Demerara winning there. The Guyana Majestics defeated the Long Island Raptors, and the Queens Sharks, they fell to Berbice Lions in the first games on day 1. In the second games on day 1, Demerara played the Queens Sharks. Queens Sharks won there by 4 wickets. The Berbice Lions beat the Long Island Raptors, and then Essequibo, they fell to Guyana Majestics by 10 wickets. And so emerging from the first day's play were 4 teams: the Demerara Eagles, the Berbice Lions, the Guyana Majestics, and the Queens Sharks. And so they played in the semifinals. And then the 2 teams that emerged out of that semifinal matchup were the Berbice Lions and the Queens Sharks. who then played in the final on day 2.
All right. Thank you so much for that roundup, Carl. We were talking about the batting and, why, runs just, didn't seem to come except for a few instances. So we're going to go to one of the batsmen, Francis Mendonca. But let me pull up Francis a little bit here. And then Francis, you had actually started to tell me something about the pitch and how the pitch was playing. All right. So we're going to go to Francis shortly.
Sure.
Guyana Cup 2023, here is Sooner Rain to Mendonca, it comes down the track. On the inside end, Achaibar. Practice. No timing at all.
That's
Big edge.
And this time, that's the end of Mendonca. The catch has been taken. And he falls for 43 on 54 balls. It's now 117 for 3.
Tell us what was going on, Francis. Tell us from the perspective of the batsman at the crease.
Yeah, well, on that particular wicket, the day before, Derek had played a brilliant knock and made 100 not out, and the matting was very tight. When we showed up there in the morning, we thought they were doing some work, so we figured, it probably was going to play a little bit more better. We had hoped, but the matting was obviously slack by every minute. I think it kind of played a slight role in the whole overall game, probably for that game and probably even the finals. Because I'm not sure if they fixed the wicket on the finals, because every minute before I got to bat, I kept like pulling it and tugging it, and obviously with the experienced bowler. Forgetting his name already. Yadram.
Yadram.
Bhaskar.
Off cutters, a lot of slower pace, so it was throwing my timing a bit off. At times, you'd bowl a faster one. The other bowlers, them probably weren't struggling as much, but again, it threw my timing off for me personally. It didn't play as good as I predicted compared to Drew Park, which played horrendous for whoever played there, because it was a nightmare for anybody batting at that wicket. It was rolling. It was some would pop up, and mind you, even when I was keeping, I made it probably look a bit easy. The bowlers them, I helped the bowlers them with that part of it when they were bowling, with me being up to the stumps, because there's no way I was going to stay back and worry about the ball rolling or potentially hitting me up in my body or my face or something. So I think the wickets. It's still early on in the season, and I think that's probably why we had a lot of these low scoring games, because the wicket is not hard enough. I mean, Drew Park has never really been a wicket, in my opinion, of any type of batting. The cage, more or less, you can get off, but the pond, everybody knows that usually is the better ground. But I think my timing was just a bit off that day, and I was trying to overhit it a bit too much at times, but again, I wasn't playing any selfish role. I just went out there and just tried to do the best I could. Unfortunately, we didn't win, and I told everybody that game was the finals. I don't care what anybody said, that game was the finals. Take a game up to the final, 2 balls. I think it was very unlucky not to win that game. I think had we won that game, we probably would have favored ourselves to win the entire thing. But better team won, so they deserved it.
Okay.
And by the way,
Nancy,
that particular game that Francis is mentioning came down to essentially the second to last ball determining the winner, right? The Queen Sharks were chasing 158, and they got to 159 for 8 with one ball remaining.
What I was keeping, because I'll be honest with you, a lot of batters might not admit it, and they even were asking me at times in all the games that I played, why don't you go back? Listen, I already know the certain bowlers, they're not bowling at a pace of maybe a Yadram or somebody else, but at the same time, not to say that I wouldn't do it to them. I think it's more of a mind thing to the batsman. If the bowler's on the same page as me and he's going to hold a length, I have no problem going up to the stumps, and I think it played a major role for them to get 26 from the last 12. We honestly thought we had the game, but those 2 sixes to begin the 19th over kind of hurt us. So
right, yeah, we're going to get to those 6s and things, but back to your team. And Lenny and Carl, you guys gonna explain the whole Jamal Hinkson scenario? 'Cause I think I missed something there.
We've seen a very good partnership of 47 between the pair out in the middle. Jamal Hinkson works his one through the offside, couple of bounces. That partnership has gone up to 52 very important runs. We'll take a look at how many balls make that 53. So that 53 has come up to 38. Well, so not bad here, Matt. 90 for 2.
At what point did Jamal retire hurt, Carl?
I believe before Carl
90 for
answers
2.
that, I probably
It wasn't
take
like-
full blame for making him get injured.
Yeah, look, it's games and shit. You know, the game is played differently. The modern game is played a little bit differently.
Yep.
Obviously, you know, he realized perhaps he was getting tired. You know what I mean? He wasn't scoring as quickly as he needed to, perhaps. And he just thought, look, we have some big hitters sitting in the hut. It may make sense for me to kind of just, you know, take a seat for a time. Let a couple of the big hitters come out and, you know, pick up the scoring rate. And it sort of worked out, at least to kind of help to keep the momentum of their innings going.
Yeah.
Well, what you think that did to the innings, Lenny, looking at it from the sideline?
Actually, you know, the point Carl is making, those things are tactics these days. We're seeing at the IPL level, if a batsman is not getting going and time is running out and you've got some big hitters to come, it's a tactic to retire. It's a tactic to retire. And it's going to happen a lot more. Now, if we know Jamal Hinkson pretty well, Jamal Hinkson is there to really finish a game. He's a strong hitter of the ball. That's what he does. Now, if he's batting with Francis Mendonca, Mendonca is an athlete, right? Mendonca runs half marathon and he runs races. Mendonca is not going to do justice to Mendonca. It's like when Chris Gayle goes out to bat with somebody else, already that person has to adjust his running because of Chris Gayle. You understand?
Right.
So I thought that was very tactical. You needed somebody to come out. The game was coming down to a close. Jamal Hinkson, he was out there to really hit the ball. That didn't really work out too well. Jamal Hinkson is not going to run a lot of runs in the wicket, not with Mendonca.
Okay.
Just to add on to that, in all honesty, I think he wasn't batting bad. I mean, I think if anything, I was batting pretty slow. I wasn't getting away the bounties as I should have. I got starts here and there. Maybe I got away the odd boundary, but I wasn't getting it away as I should have, given the amount of time that was there at the wicket. And those things are part of the game. I think when he came in, I think he made it a little bit more easy for me. I mean, he was batting well. I think he got injured indeed, because he literally had came off a flight today to come into play, and he was supposed to be there for the morning game because he was coming back from Guyana, but he obviously got delayed in Guyana and he got in late, and he made it for the second game. So he generally got injured. Wasim came in, and I from the minute he walked to the crease, I said, "Hey, I'm just gonna go. Do you want me to even, you know, retire hurt, whatever it is for the team, to let somebody else come?" And he said, "Just continue batting. You're doing well." And I think those are the type of teammates I appreciate to have around me, because they encourage you to continue doing well, even when, you know, you're not doing as well as you should for the team. So I don't think it was a tactical move, because nobody even mentioned it to me and we never spoke about it. I think he generally got injured, and I think he's just tapering for the season rather than just a tournament. So because I'll be honest, Ball is a faster runner than Wasim Hazim, aka Killer. So
Killer.
It's not
Look,
so,
We're laughing. What's going on?
Anansi, I forgot that you had the man right here. He was out there with Jamal. He
Yeah.
They were thinking.
It wasn't nothing strategic at all. He generally got injured, and I asked him, and I was at that point, in all honesty, I was like, damn, this is a blow, because he was beating the spinners. He had hit two boundaries, and I said, all right, he's gonna take it on.
Look, Francis makes a good point, right? In the sense that he actually wasn't batting badly. He faced 15 balls, right? And he scored 25 runs. You know what I mean? He
Yeah.
only hit 2/4, but normally 15 ball. He's a guy that, you know, he's a clean striker of the ball. He can hit it out of the ground. In his innings, he didn't hit his sixes or whatever. But to that point, it's 167 strike rate is not the worst strike rate. But you know, again, so that probably underscores the point Francis is making.
Look, in the early part when Jamal Hickson started to play in New York, he was such a quick scorer, right? I've seen him play some very big innings. And by the way, Jamal Hickson at one time used to play club cricket in Trinidad and Tobago, right? I mean, I want to think he may have played for Guyana Youth at one time, but yeah, he's a top quality player, you know, and on that day probably didn't get too much going, but hey, well, he got 25 from just a few balls. So yeah.
Okay. In terms of the,
and then one good thing, when as Francis said, when Haslam came, Haslam only faced 11 balls, but he started beating it almost from ball one. He hit 3 sixes, and Haslam had a strike rate of almost 220. So he was right on top of it almost from ball one. So that's why we sitting in the commentary box thought it might have been strategic, because he came and almost from the very first ball he faced, he hit it out the ground.
Yeah.
I think he was the only one, in all honesty, that actually looked the part batting at Drew Park. Out of all the games that may have played there, if you looked at the scorecard, I think he made 40 something, if I'm not mistaken. And he was batting like it was a totally different wicket. So again, every player is different. I think it's how you adjust and, you know, how you play on that day. And he carried that form when he played the day before. So
now talking about the batting and the low scores. There was one person, Mr. Telston Johnson, that produced the occasional delivery that kills some dreams. I missed the one where he got the dangerous Derek Narayan. But this is him bowling into action, the very first game between Borbies and the Sharks, and then, you know, I'm going to come back to you.
Hold on. All right, buddy. All right. Come on.
Telston Johnson strike first ball. What a start for the Queen Sharks.
Come on, the runs on Mick.
Tell us about those strikes from Telston, Carl. You know,
look, people underestimate Telston Johnson, right? Telston, first of all, when Telston Johnson first started playing in New York cricket, he was one of the respected, faster bowlers who showed up every game and delivered the goods. Over time, you know, with age, with you slow down a little, things change. You're not as effective. In this particular tournament, Telston Johnson, when they gave him the new ball, the guy showed up and he bowled a tidy length, especially in his first spell, which is generally like, I think, 2 overs at the top. He generally gives you a good, genuine effort. And there we saw it. He knocked over Akshay Humraj with the very first ball. And then he came back later in the tournament to pick up Derek Narayan, who had scored a century the day before, picked up his wicket as well without scoring. And in that situation, he only faced 2 balls. So Telston Johnson, again, people underestimate him at their own peril. And he had a fantastic tournament overall, given the standards.
Right. Lenny, tell me, if this ball had been caught by Dino in the first match, how do you think the first match?
In the air.
Sorry about that. That's the wrong thing.
Catch him by one, come on.
Now that was just after he had bowled Akshay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Look.
And Dominic.
That was a costly miss.
Ended up that was a costly thing, but cricket, the game of great uncertainty. Well, how do you see that playing out had Dominic been caught at that point?
Look, the Sharks, they were defending a low score, right?
Yeah.
So promising was the start from Tello Johnson. When he got that first wicket, we all said game on. We were looking for any bit of opportunity for Sharks to really take a bite out of their small total, right? And
Yeah.
that missed opportunity was a big one. Dominic Ricky, when you look at Dominic Ricky, the way he bats, he's a front foot player. He looks to come on the front foot, and all his shots. If you were to plot a wagon wheel of Dominic Ricky, he goes long off, long on. He goes pretty straight. A couple of clips that you showed us there, they were shot straight down the ground. He plays very straight. He comes onto the front foot quickly. And that shot was one of those quick, short arm pull through the onside. It went to a bit like short mid wicket. Probably Dino was not expecting that ball. Maybe it came a little quick to him. But that was a costly drop. Considering Johnson had really given them so much promise with taking out Akshay Hamraj off the first delivery. That was a big moment for them.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
that particular shot went to the boundary for 4, right? At that point, the Sharks were, they were, the Burbies were pretty much just getting up and running. The Sharks had their heels up. Dominic Ricky went on to score. He was yet to get off the mark. He went on to score 67 from 34 balls. He hit 2 sixes and 11 fours. So that was pretty much the game right there, in fairness. Now, it doesn't mean that somebody else couldn't have come after Dominic and put up a good score. I mean, Burbies has a very deep batting lineup. We'll give them credit for that. But that proved to be a costly miss in the end, when you're only defending 117 runs.
Right. All right. We're gonna go into the heart of the one of the semifinals. We were both at the commentating team and myself, which would be the Sharks versus the Majestic Panthers. But Carl, just give our audience a quick review of what happened over at the in the semifinal between Burbies and Demerara.
So in the semifinals, there are 2 semifinals. Burbies and Demerara. Burbies ended up winning by 4 wickets as they chased 112 all out that Demerara posted, and so they ramped to victory. Well, I shouldn't say they ramped. They got there. They kind of squeaked to victory because they won with 1 delivery remaining, chasing a very low total, winning by 4 wickets.
All right. Well, we had a lot of drama over at the Baisley Pond. Let's go to the closing stages of the Panthers innings. And Francis, help me out with what's going on in the minds of
Ronaldo to Mars. Outside the off-score. Oh, another run out. So Trevor Henry, a signal a wide. And you can't get run out a wide. So Troy Mars will have to walk back. It's 152 for 7. 152 for 7. Swing and a miss. They're going to run. Could be another one here. And it is.
3 run-outs to close off the innings. What was going on there, Frank? I mean, and this wasn't the team chasing the runs. What was going on there,
Well,
Francis?
at that point, you're trying to get as much run as possible. I think when Troy came out after he got run out, he was obviously upset. But we as a team, we told him, listen, it's a team game. The ball, you missed the ball. It's the last 2 or 3 balls I believe was left in the over. We know you can hit. Not to say that we know you can't hit, but Trevor's been there and he's seeing the ball obviously. At that point, as much runs as we can, we got to get it. It's a wide. You just got to take off. I think if he had taken off, he probably would have made it. But I think we even ended that innings. I think Trevor had hit a boundary or a 6, I think, to close it off. So I mean, it wasn't like it was something intentional. Again, sometimes you as a player you have to think of as a team. I mean, I could just even go off topic. When I made my 100 a week ago, it's the last over of the 35th overs when I actually got it. I had to get 7, I believe, of the last over. And my teammate, the first ball, I told him, I said, listen, I'm not worried about me, I'm worried about the team. The first ball, he spanked it for 6. The next ball, he missed it. I took off because the keeper fumbled. And he took off. He sacrificed his wicket, actually. I could have been run out. So again, it's a team game. You got to give a little and you got to take. So it's not to say that, it was something done intentional. Yeah, we probably, wish it didn't happen. But that's the game. You know what I mean? We're looking to get as much runs as possible, and we actually got to the target where we were looking at, around 160.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I certainly hope it would not have been intentional.
No, it
Yeah,
definitely was.
definitely
He was,
not.
listen, and that's why the other, if you look on the second run out, you would see that the other player, he actually run out, and when he got run out, he wasn't even upset. So again, you know, as a player, you got to think of the team. He missed the ball, he took off right away. He didn't care about the runners. He wanted to get that batsman who was on strike, you know, the time to hit the ball, because he was already seeing the ball. So,
Right.
Yeah.
So Carl, we were at the semi-final at Baisley Pond. USA Majestic Panthers, they've just been out. What's the target for the Sharks?
So in the semifinals, the target for the Sharks was 159. Well, they needed 159 for victory. They got to 159, as I said earlier, with one ball remaining and 8 wickets down. So it was not easy. And that game, to be fair, it ebbed and flowed. At any point, along as the game progressed, you know, when you think through it, after like 11 overs, 12 overs, you would think, all right, this game is leaning towards Queen Sharks. Then it switched back to where it was leaning towards Majestics, then back to, and so it was just ebbing and flowing. And then, you know, as Francis mentioned earlier, it came down to about 26 needed from like 2 overs. And so you, at that point, you would give Majestics all the momentum, and you know, if you had to put your house up, you know, to secure a win, you would say you would probably put it on Majestics at that point.
All right, let's take the fans through those moments. All right, and you know, you guys could help chaperone us. Here's first.
43 required from 20 balls. Yeah. Terrence Major.
39 from 18, exactly 13 and over required. Ronaldo Muhammad has been off strike a bit. Matthew marks, and there goes Ronaldo Muhammad, straying down the leg side, picks it up, heaves it away for a boundary. That's exactly what the Sharks need. Good way to start the over.
And that's it.
Curved, up and over. This is for more. Ronaldo Muhammad had said it when he came out. Probably should be batting a notch or two earlier. And this is exactly why. 31 from 16 deliveries. Ronaldo was up to 9 back-to-back boundaries, and pressure on marks.
31 from 16. How were you guys seeing the game at that point, Lenny?
Anansi, T20 cricket, we've seen a lot more of individual brilliance and less of a teamwork. When you look at the Sharks, chasing 159, we must not forget Randall Wilson and Gajanan Singh put on an 85-run partnership after Chowinam fell cheaply. In fact, Chowinam didn't make any runs.
Yeah,
and then after Gajanan and Randall Wilson was done, Yadram didn't last too long, and it came down to 3 individuals. We had Kellen Carmichael. Kellen Carmichael was struggling a bit, but he got a few hits in one of the overs. I think one of the overs he took 14 off somebody. Might have been Haslim, I'm not too sure. So Kellen Carmichael, yeah.
He scored 11 from 9 overall, Kellen Carmichael. But in one of the overs, as you point out, he hit a big 6 at an opportune time.
Right. So it was Kellen Carmichael, Ronaldo Muhammad, right? And then of course we got the finishing from Telston Johnson. But it was really a team effort. This innings of chasing 159 looked like it was like one of those first class test match innings where you needed 4 or 5 guys to really pull this total off. Many times in T20 cricket, it'll probably take 2 individual, maybe 1 individual brilliance, as we saw from Derek Narine in one of the game when he got 100. You don't lose too many matches if one of your top batters like Derek Narine makes 100, and that's exactly what we saw. But this chase here, 159, everybody had to come out and do something, and which they did actually.
Yeah, you're right, Len. And I think the over you're referencing with when the 14 runs came, Kellen Carmichael hit a 6. in that over. Ronaldo Mohammed also hit a couple of sixes. He scored 23 from just 8 balls, and Ronaldo was looking to end it early. And then when he got out, you thought, all right, that's it. You know, it's game, set, match, they're finished.
Exactly.
Right.
And,
So
and look,
here are the shots from Ronaldo.
And the shot, believe yet again. In the What was 13 and over is now 14 from 10. The amount of twists and turns you can have in a T20 game.
Amount of twists and turns, Lenny.
Yeah. Look, that was a couple of big strikes from Ronaldo Mohammed. The thing is, in the 19th over, he was hitting with the wind. He had everything in his favor. And we know Ronaldo Mohammed, I think he's played for the West in his youth. And, you know, he's a top player. And he came in at the right time, probably. We were making the point, probably he's batting maybe a notch or two lower. But, hey, he came at the right time, struck a big couple of blows in that particular over that went straight into the big trees.
Right.
And the fact is, as I said, Len, when he got out, we thought that was it, because now it came down to the bowlers pretty much. And it really took Telston Johnson really pulling off, you know, a shot that I don't think any of us have ever seen him play. At least I haven't. Where I'm not sure where he manufactured that one.
Look, I've seen a lot of T20 local games, and this one, to use a boxing terminology, pack the punches. These guys, Sharks never stop fighting. They keep throwing punches. Whatever. We saw a few dot balls that really pushed them back, and then bang, bang, a couple of big shots.
So Francis, in the opposition on the field, what you were saying as you were watching the drama unfold?
I wish I had held on to Gajinan when he hit the ball back to me. If I had taken that catch, my word, I don't know what I would have done. It even caught my surprise when they said, listen, come and bowl it over. Let's see if we can try something, you know. And I back myself. I think any cricketer, I mean, I've bowled in the past and I've been bowling anyway. But I think any cricketer, as an example, even the last over when Matthew bowled, I backed him to defend the 13 runs. I think any cricketer, for captain or any leader or any teammate says, hey, let's give you a try, you should be able and, you know, willing to say, hey, yes, with confidence, give it to me, I got it. So I think, you know, we fought to the end. We know we were going against a powerhouse team, no doubt about it. They got after a good start. I think when we got Randall, we said, okay, we need to get Gajinan now in a minute. And I think that 12th over when Karam Chan bowled that Gajinan, I said, fellas, this is it here. We got to keep going. We're not letting up. And then, you know, at one point, I think David had returned in one to me because I knew Kiran, even him himself, couldn't hit the ball as well and combat him as a quality player as well. And when I ran him out, I said, listen, we got to keep taking these wickets because these guys are going to keep coming. If you look at the last, I think it was like maybe the last 5 or 6 overs, they kept going at like 12, 13, 40 runs over. So I think when Kellan got out with that right before he had hit a 6, the last ball, I think that was the 17th over, if I'm not mistaken, he gave away a 4 to Coolie Boy. And I think that kind of threw us off a bit. And then, you know, opportunity, maybe I could have caught it, maybe off of the first ball when Ronaldo Ali Muhammad came off of Karam Chan, same over, I think he came in. When he came in, the first ball he faced, he nicked his edge. But again, they were a quality team. I mean, they deserve to win. You know, had we won, though, we would have been jumping for joy because that's a pretty much a first-class team you're looking at, you know, when you think about it, the amount of talent that they had in that team. So I think, you know, we had to just keep getting wickets. And, like I said, 26 to get after you hit those 2 sixes, I still believe we could have gotten it. But, that's the game of cricket. 30 runs to defend in a over. We didn't expect Telston to even hit a 6. Mind you, I didn't expect
Well, Carl just made a reference to that
Listen,
six, that big six.
Listen, I'm up to the stumps in the first ball he bowled, and he bowled the York outside the off stump. Matthew Achaibar bowled the same ball there again, and he bowled on the leg side and gave me a why do you think it was a leg by, and then he hit it with a 6 or 7. I don't know what you're trying to bowl these men them down for. Just keep the ball, keep it simple, bowl outside the off stump up there. And I think maybe we would have gotten a chance, but again, that's the game of cricket. The better team won, and I truly believe that really was the finals because it felt like it. It surely felt like it. So.
There are Eagles by 4 wickets with 1 ball to spare. Chasing just 113, so they'll eat their way into the championship final. Here's Matthew Marks.
Telston Johnson has gone all the way. What a shot. This man can do everything.
Reduces the equation to now 5 runs needed from 3 balls. 5 from 3.
That Nuam hasn't just helped his bowling, it seems to have turned him into Suya Kumayana.
Telston Johnson.
Yeah, Lenny, how do we characterize that, in terms of cricketing terms? What was that shot? How would you characterize the shot?
Look, there were a lot of good shots played in the tournament, right? There's a lot of good shots, many shots played. But in respect to this shot hit from Telston Johnson, well executed. This was not a splug. This was not desperation. Johnson looked like he had this thing covered. And I know Matt mentioned Surya Kumar Yadav. With all the confidence in the world, you would not imagine Telston Johnson should be swinging his bat in desperation. Very nonchalantly, this man plays this thing over mid-wicket. Probably a shot at the tournament, and the shot that made Sharks the eventual champion. I know one of their team owners is watching tonight, Bisham Ramnath, but I think the shot of the tournament and the shot for Sharks, Telston Johnson for 6.
Yeah, and the thing about it too that I give Tello credit for is, to me, it came at what they would consider an international sport against the run of play, because to that point, Telston had been just, playing it around. He didn't seem like he was middling the ball very well. And it seemed like he just made up his mind that, look, anything comes that in this arc, in this area right here, I have this shot in mind that I'm going to play. And we were shocked when he pulled that out, to be honest. I mean,
I think it's the bat, Carl, I think it's the bat.
And Carl, what?
You know what's the name of the bat? You know the name of the bat, the stick on the bat? I actually have one myself.
Yeah? What is it?
It's one of Mark's bats, and it's called Bowler Killer.
Yeah. And by the way, look, by the way, Telston Johnson was having an amazing tournament. He took out Derek Narayan, he took out Akshay Hamraj, and we made the point that the 2 centurions of the Guyana Cup in 2 years, Hamraj and Narayan, he took them out in quick time. And he also came good with the bat.
He did. He had a great tournament. No, look, in every game, he was overshadowed by one player or another. But in totality, just for his contribution at every point along the way, you have to say he is one of the marquee players, as they were coined at the draft. He became one of the marquee players for his team, and he delivered, to the very end. To help his team get over the line.
All right. We got about 10 more minutes, and the drama, as much as intense as it was, did not end there.
One run away. Matthew Marks, the wide man of the Ruben Cosby, following the outfield from Caleb, allowing him to get back to two. Once again, the six-run Telston Johnson, 1 run, 2 deliveries, level scores at the moment.
I know you would have noticed that Terrence stepped out there. 1 run to go, and what's going on with Terrence. So John Aaron, we all know John. John came onto the field. So I asked John to send me a little clip of what was going on. Hey, this is John with regard to that little.
I believe Terence Mattermutu had exerted more energy celebrating as the scores were leveled between the two teams, and as a result of which he had a muscle contraction on his right chest area, not to do with a heart attack, but he certainly had exerted too much energy then, and that's what I believed was the result of him experiencing the tightness in the chest. And as a result, he was sort of short of breath for a little while. But that's nothing major. He soon returned to normal.
Terrence Achaibar, all right. Adding to the drama. So let's go to the close, and then we'll come with our closing remarks. Let's go to the close of that match.
In the final, this ball to decide the finalists.
And if not this ball, then there's still one more ball after this. And now, some mind games being played here, perhaps.
Yeah, see, Killer is having a close word with
So, scores are level.
So here is Matthew Marks. The scores are level. Couple of balls remaining. Here is Marks. He runs in. The ball to Mattermutu. Scores are tied. One! Mattermutu got it. With the field shots of Bennett. They've done the impossible.
You're closing thoughts, Lenny.
Yeah, a big win there for the Sharks. Not a good start to the tournament. we saw them bowing out, losing their first game to Berbice, but what a game! What a game we witnessed. We saw some all-round performance, and to the finals, Sharks goes.
Yeah, yeah, that was perhaps the game of the tournament, at least for all the games that were played at Daisley Pond Park. That one was certainly one of the most exciting, and was worthy of probably being the final game, as we have said. I mean, it was a really close contest, could have gone either way, and it just ebbed and flowed. Really excitement all around.
All right. Your closing thoughts, Francis.
Yeah, just happy to be a part of it, playing amongst your peers, the best of the best. And yeah, looking forward to next year.
Yeah,
right.
and Anansi, I just wanna refer to a comment made by I know Navin Stewart might still be on, but he's an outsider, meaning that he's from Trinidad and Tobago, and he made a point in one of the comments that going forward,
about
maybe
inviting some TNT team, right? Yeah, I think that would be nice. What will you say, Carl? I mean, in terms of the cup reaching out to.
Yeah, look, I know it's called the Guyana Cup and all, and I know there's an element of national pride that's embedded in it. But yeah, it adds to the flair when you can get when it can be expanded as a franchise format. It expands, it brings in other quality players, it enhances the quality of the cricket. So I wouldn't be opposed to it. But I'm sure if you ask a true red-blooded Guyanese, they'll probably say we should keep it, focus on Guyana.
I think they would definitely say the Guyana Cup is the Guyana Cup. I mean, if
Yep.
you want to have a different competition, you have the Guyana team, you have a Jamaica team. Back in the day, a few years ago, what was it, the Edamat competition?
Yeah.
They're from that
Caribbean Cup. Yeah.
so Caribbean Cup. So, yeah, I mean that's interesting. But yeah, I'm not sure if they would go for stuff like that. But hey, if they did, that's again, it makes the cricket get more interesting.
Definitely, definitely. Well, we'll see where it goes. This year's tournament was certainly a step up from last year, the first year. All right, so we'll see where it goes in the third year. And next week we'll be back to talk about the final. Of course, Francis is saying that this semi-final was the final, but
I'm saying that too, actually.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about the final and where something like this can go because based on the cricket that I saw over the Memorial Day weekend, I do think this augurs well for cricket in the New York area, and hopefully it does get bigger and better. Thanks, guys. Bisham Ramnot, Kevin Nazir, Navin Stewart, all of you folks in the commentary section. Francis, thank you for coming on board. Lenny, Carl, thank you so much. I really wanted to hear the voice of Matthew. He had something. They invited Telston, but Telston was still at work. All right. So thank you all for being here. Thank you guys for joining us, and we are out.